guys, I'm Kanaka and I'm back with another video. So today's video is going to be completely different from the rest of my videos and you will see that in just a bit. But before starting with today's video, I would like to thank you all for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and follow me on my Instagram. Link to it is also in the description box below. And let's get started. And I have two guests with me. So let me introduce you to our first guest, Gajesh Midkari. He is a graphic designer from NID and he's joining us from Nagpur. And he is going to be my co-host for this interview. And next we have the celebrity for today's video. We have Dr. Sujala Pathare with us, and she is a PhD in marine biotechnology. She's been a professor in zoology for 17 years, a manager in pharmaceutical companies for 7 years. She's into hospital management for over 15 years now and has been doing stem cell research and therapy for 13 years now. She's also a managing trustee for Vasundhara Charitable Trust, which is based in Palghar. And last but not the least, she is a wife to a surgeon who is also an artist, a mother of 3 who is a game artist, a pilot and a doctor, and a recent grandmother with us. So with so many accomplishments and achievements, you're like a great inspiration for so many people out there. And I'm really glad to have you here with us. Pandemic.
Hi all.
So firstly, I would like to introduce the topic for today's interview. So since this pandemic hit us, we've been only hearing about the negatives and what all we can do to avoid getting affected by this virus, and how can we take precautions about this. But hardly we heard anyone talk about what to do once you or any relative or friend gets affected by this virus, and basically what one person goes through emotionally when it comes to getting affected by this, the anxiety, the negative thoughts and all of it. Hardly anyone talks about how to cope with those emotions. So today Dr. Sujala Pathare is going to help us deal with these, cope, give us some advice, tips, suggestions as to how can we maintain our emotional balance. And I would like Gajesh to start this interview by asking the questions.
Hello ma'am, thank you for joining us today. So I'll start with the first question. So can you tell us something about your background and what you're doing currently right now?
Yeah, actually the most relevant background with today's interview is, we have a very small hospital, like a 15-bedded nursing home, but it is complete with ICU and surgical setup. So we cater to all kinds of things. So it's a secondary kind of a treatment, secondary level treatment. We do not have angiography, angioplasty, MRI, but apart from that, we have everything. So we do all the complicated surgeries. We do all take care of the critical patients. So the entire setup is there with us. And we have been working for last 15 years and I have been managing help in the setup and also managing the entire setup. Most relevant of my qualification in today's topic is we have been working as a non-COVID hospital for last 6 months. And we have been in the red hot zone of Prabhadevi, which was the, I think, primary starting point or primary hot point in Mumbai's pandemic situation. And we really had a terrible time. A lot of things happened in the last 6 months. So I think that is more important. So there was a load on us for a lot of things. It was stressful and it is still stressful because still we are getting COVID.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I would like to ask you that since the beginning, like since you said like for the past 6 months you've been handling COVID patients and stuff. So since the beginning of this pandemic till now, what are the changes or differences that you have noticed in you as well as the patient's approach in when they are coming to you for consultation?
Yeah. Actually, I'm a non-medical. I'm not trained to be a medical doctor, though I have been associated with the history patients and disease progress, this and that, and of course managing the entire hospital setup for last so many years. Clearly, if you look just at the psychology, then I don't think much has changed. We were all scared then, and we are all scared even now. The only positive thing that we are getting is, yes, there are a lot of people who have gone through this and have recovered. Maybe there is much more clarity on the clinical management. Our doctors are really doing a good job, and the kind of exchanges that I see in their medical groups, whatever they are doing. So whatever latest is there, they are sharing and they are implementing and managing. That is the reason you see very less COVID-related deaths now. So the death rate is very, very low, though the incidence is very high. So I think all of us are scared, were scared, are going to be scared that this is going to hit us and something very bad is going to happen. Earlier, what used to happen was people would come to us for treatment because they were scared that if I disclose, there was a lot of stigma. It is still there, and that is which is very, very worrisome.
Okay.
So another question, I think, continuing from the same conversation we were having. So some news channels and WhatsApp forwards still say that COVID has been hyped more than it should be. So what do you have to say about that?
Just ask somebody who has suffered COVID. It is not at all hyped. We have seen patients collapse in front of us. I have seen the medical profession from the periphery for last, say, 30, 40 years, more than that, very closely. It has been never this bad, where we did not have a clue as to what is happening because the disease was changing every day. The parameters were changing. The seriousness of it was changing. So for some patient, it was affecting the lungs. Somewhere it was affecting the heart. Somewhere it was affecting your GI tract. So we used to find patient coming with loose motions, but coming COVID positive.
Okay.
So it is there. It is there to remain. And the sooner we accept it, the better it is. And if anyone has any doubt, you please talk to somebody who has suffered from COVID. And then you will know the difference. So it is not at all hyped. It is there and it is very scary. Please believe it. Take it from me. If you ask any doctor who is practicing in any hospital, will tell you that.
Yeah, I think thanks. That actually gave us a lot of clarity regarding this. And now I would like to ask you that there are many people out there who are scared and who have fear from getting tested. So what do you have to say to them?
Yeah, I don't know about the world, but when I look at Indian scenario, the quarantine is taken very negatively. Maybe people are relating it to the caste history or maybe to diseases like leprosy and TB where, patients were actually separate. But in Corona, that is what is required. I would say that you have to be safe than sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have any symptoms, you have to care. There are so many treatments now available. We can very quickly treat you, and what might become a very deadly disease will come into control very quickly. So there is nothing to be scared about. Okay. Yes, there are complications. It is not like your normal flu. For some people, it was like, no, I just had a headache for 2 days and they test positive. There is no history of fever. So it is very complicated. But people who have suffered have really suffered. And if you don't want to go into that suffering, please detect early. Please be alert. And please, if you don't scare to get yourself tested. Get yourself tested. 14 days in your entire life is nothing compared to the safety of you, yourself, and your near and dear ones who are living with you. So at least for them, you have to be very alert. Just 14 days, proper medication, isolation, and you are done with. And it is true till now. So don't be scared. Yeah. If you are scared, if you it's more dangerous. So please don't be scared.
Thank you. I think that would be really warming to hear from you.
Yeah, that's really insightful also. It really helps me to think about it in a different perspective that I have been thinking about. So moving on to the next question. How to make a patient feel comforted and loved considering the social distancing rules?
Very good question, because we have been doing it for last 6 months. Because actually what happens is, like a person comes, I am having something in my throat, I'm having fever, I had fever 2 days back, I'm not feeling okay. If you have a COVID infection, many people internally will start feeling that it's not only the scary part, it is just that they start feeling uncomfortable. Examples where people from each family are in 2 or 3 different quarantine centers. Somebody is in the hospital, somebody is in a quarantine center, somebody is in a hotel, lodge, wherever they get accommodation. Now, in that case, we in the hospital, or myself, basically, because I would be the primary contact person for these people, they would fall back on me for a lot of support. And now, what we have very ideally is what we are doing right now: Zoom meetings. We have video conferencing, we have WhatsApp calls, we have WhatsApp video, duo. So many things are available. The communication, the telecommunication and modern technology has become, so important, and it is so good that you can really talk to anybody, anywhere in the world at any point of time. Just call your friend, make jokes, what time pass you do, have a Zoom meeting among all the friends. And जो भी time pass आप लोग करते हो, time ये बोलो वो बोलो, like all the small silly nonsensic things and all fun things that you love to do, you can have it in a Zoom meeting. So what if somebody has a COVID? Yeah. So that's the way you can do it. There are a lot of other things, like you help them, you send them food, make nice food, tasty food, what they like, and you send it over. Because it's not that you are not allowed to eat anything. You're allowed to eat everything.
Yes.
Okay. I cannot imagine in this pandemic, if we would have had no communication like this, advanced these communication systems that we have, we would have been much, much more vulnerable, because then it would be unknown. Play housey. Everybody plays housey. Yeah. Do something which the person will feel connected.
That's
the
important.
Person who is feel connected and supported. Once that is, the recovery is very, very fast. And it's not so miserable.
Nice. That was a really cool answer. So, with the next question, that how to deal with anxiety and avoid the unpleasant or unnecessary thoughts that one might get if they or any of their family member gets tested positive.
Yes, as I said, it's a very scary situation and everybody is scared.
Yes.
And unfortunately, nobody is hoping to avoid the scare. So what we hear is the very scary numbers that are put up on the TV screen.
Yes.
So many lakhs, so many thousands, and so many these things and all the statistics. But statistic doesn't tell whether you are in or you are out. You will get infected or you are infected and cured, or you're. So it is very scary. And then you have all these, like I said good things about technology, but there are some bad things about technology.
Yes.
You get so many messages about this, that, and people don't have that, sometimes, don't get the perspective of how things are. So the first thing that happens whenever somebody in the family tests positive is panic. And then once the panic starts, then there is a blame game, because you went out, you did that, I did this, who is responsible?
Yes.
Everything happens, yeah? But you have to keep cool.
Okay.
If there is anxiety, vent it out. If you are angry, just be angry, get it out of your system. No point in, pelting up all the thoughts and, accumulate everything and getting that pressure. Don't become a pressure cooker. Let vent off some of that things. So there, friends and family who are not affected can lend their support. And as I said, telephone and video. See, because when you do a video, you can actually see the person, like how we are doing now.
Yes.
Actually see them. That becomes very effective just than a phone call. So you can do that. And actually you have to keep cool, be in touch with your doctors. The BMC also helps. The BMC doctors also help quite a lot. They will advise you medication. So keep having medication. And yes, there is going to be anxiety. And don't think that, no, I cannot get anxious. You have to talk to somebody in the family who will lower down your anxiety. That may not be always possible. The other person will make you more anxious. So anybody who has a medical background, little bit experience, you can talk to them, and just a few kind words. No, everything will be all right. It's fine. Just take care. If you need anything, let us know. We will come. You can say that we will come and help you. It's not that you are alone and you are dying and nobody's there to look up. It's not like that, because that is what comes to me. Okay, oh my God, I've got COVID. I'm going to die, and nobody's going to come and look after me. No, it will not happen like that. The anxiety normally will last for a couple of days. But as I said, yes, family, friends, very important. Society which you live in. I have heard so many bad stories. I have had friends who tell me, even after 1 month of their quarantine is over, they are telling still the building people, when I'm climbing stairs, will close their doors on my face. What is this behavior? Learned, educated people behaving like this. I really don't want to scare you, but see to it that it doesn't happen in your neighborhood. See to it that it doesn't happen in your buildings. See to it doesn't happen to your family, friends. They are looked after emotionally, because that is what is important.
So, ma'am, you suggested a lot of activities, cooking and talking to people, video calling people. But can you suggest more activities for mental and emotional cleansing during this difficult time?
Cleansing is a very, very tough term, and I don't want to use it. Because you need a professional to do that. Let us keep it simple, because we are all people here. Nobody is a psychologist, psychiatrist, and cleansing process. It's a huge term. I don't want to get into it. Let us keep it simple.
Okay.
Do activities that you like to do. So you like to watch movies? Simply watch movies. Binge watching. Do something that you like. Okay, that will give you happiness. It is individual. All that cleansing will happen on its own. It is automated system of our body. If you are scared, talk to people. Talk to your friends. Talk to people who make you laugh. It will make you happy. Right? Try to reduce the stress by yourself. You yourself know. Listen to your body. Listen to your mind. That's the best cleanser. Listen to your mind. Do things. You want to do yoga? Do yoga. You don't want to do yoga? Don't do yoga. Join online dance classes. What is there? You are in quarantine. Doesn't mean that you have to sit in your bedroom locked and not do anything and just on your bed. Right? Cook something. Yeah, knit, paint, sing. However bad singer you are, there are so many apps available. Record. Hear your own singing. Have a good laugh. What is there? Isn't it? Emotional cleansing. It will happen on its own. We have that ability. Our own body has that ability. Otherwise, how we will survive? Tell me. Isn't it? We always feel that there is some expert who needs to come and do it for you. For me, I have this one friend who will crack jokes and give me hearty laughs. So whenever I'm down, I just give her a call. And I just laugh my heart out and ask her to tell some funny things, some gossip, something. Every time it will come up and we will just have a hearty laugh. That's how it is. That's all the emotional cleansing that you need and anxiety diffusers that you need. So just diffuse your anxiety. And for your friends also, don't think that, okay, how I'm also scared. How can I help?
Yeah.
Maybe yes. If you share your scare or your fears, maybe together you can overcome the fears and face it. So everybody can help everybody. It's not that you don't need any qualification. You are a human being. You have emotions. You feel love. You feel anger. You are able to help. Everybody is the same. Intensity will be a little different, but everybody is the same.
With the answers that you gave, it actually tells us that how much responsibility even we have towards people. I mean, even if we are not affected, we have so much of responsibility towards the people who are affected. And that actually is very much helpful to everyone out there, because for us also to know that we are also capable of helping our friends get over anxiety and all of those emotions. So many people are indifferent because they feel okay, I am not affected, so why should I be so concerned about this situation? But it just told us that how much responsibility even we have, even if we are not affected, towards the people who are affected. So thank you for that answer. And now I would like to ask you that, since you are so much about you should do this, do that, all about activities and stuff. Now there are some people who have this thing that if I'm feeling sad or like unhappy about a situation, some people don't feel like being productive at all. They feel like they want to feel those emotions and then get over it, then engage and distract themselves by doing other activities. So what do you think, is that fine or is that going to suppress that person more?
No, not at all. Not at all. See, there is always a process of healing.
Yeah.
For me, it might be laughter. For somebody else, it might be crying, sulking, wallowing.
Yeah.
Fine. The only difference is if you remain in a negative mood for a very, very long time, your recovery will get affected.
Okay.
So it's okay to cry, it's okay to feel bad, because though I say you always remain happy, when you are sick, you are not always happy.
Yes.
Right? You cannot be happy when you're feeling miserable, you're feeling tired, you are not able to, sit properly, there is body ache, there is whatever, bad taste in your mouth, and you're not able to eat, there is fever. When you are sick, you're not happy. So you cannot, we don't expect you to be happy all the time.
Yeah.
So you want to cry, okay, do it. Get over with it.
Okay.
Then cry and smile at least for some time.
Yeah.
That will help you. That will help you much better. So that's what I said is very important. Listen to your body and listen to your mind. So if your body says have to rest, you have to rest. If your body says no, I will just sit and watch TV, do that. No, I feel like dancing, dance. But if your body is telling no, don't dance, just sleep, just sleep.
So yeah, we'll move on to the next question. It's a little bit serious right now. I think last two are the questions that comes to everybody's mind, but we are not able to ask them or articulate them properly to people or to our family members. So how can one make peace with the fact that one can't perform the last rites for a family member and can't see them for one last time if they pass away due to COVID?
Very, very tricky and a very bad situation. And we have seen that happen so many times. This is, and as I said, this is an unforeseen, extraordinary situation. We have never seen it this in our life. We have never experienced anything in this life. So you have to take in life as and when it comes. So for example, if you are in US or you are in some other country and somebody near to you passes away and you're not able to come, you're not able to come. And that's how it has to be. And you have to only sit and pray that the soul that has left us has left peacefully. And believe me, people who are working in this field, who are doing the cremations, who are supporting the families, they are doing an excellent job in all these quarantine centers, because the families, as I said, are displaced. They are in 2 or 3 different centers. Somebody is critical. You are not able to go and see them. It's a tough time. It's a very, very scary time. There is nothing as sad as to lose somebody very close to you and not able to attend. Yeah. But this is something we have to get used to it. Why are we stressed out? Because you feel that see, if my parents are living in the same society, get affected, I am not able to go to them. This is what is killing and creating a lot of stress for us. But you have to have trust and faith in the agencies who are looking after these people, and they are doing a very good job. The ambulance people, the hospital staff, the quarantine center staff, they have been extraordinarily compassionate. And you have to acknowledge that. So whenever, all these things about, they are charging so much money and bills and all, I don't see anybody talking about compassion and selflessness. Why would they do it? Why would they put their own life at stake?
Yes.
Don't they have families? Don't they have near and dear ones? Will not they get affected? Yes. So many of us have got affected. So many of us have, for them it has been fatal. So many of us have lost our dear friends. Doing what? Treating and serving people.
Yes.
And when we come back home, you don't treat us nicely. When we are treating, you come, you doubt why you are giving this treatment, why you are charging this. It is not in our hands how much money to charge for medicines, right? Don't we have a family? It really feels so sad. There was a video early on going viral in Sion Hospital. The bodies to be cremated, but could not be taken. They are still lying on the bed. Somebody made that video public, and it was such a scary situation. But they are short of staff. Why aren't these NGOs or political parties or whoever are there? Why they don't volunteer for such work?
Yeah, true.
We need help. Who is there to help us? Nobody. Nobody's thinking about that. So when you lose your dear one, it is really a bad situation to be in. And we have seen so many of them. And that is where we lend support. That is where you have to be very, very strong when your friend or your family, very near family, might be your second cousins, third cousins, going through this, you have to be very strong for them. It is need of the hour. We just can't do anything. So instead of becoming miserable that I'm not able to do some things in some way,
Yes.
which I was doing for so many years, I have to think, okay, this is a new situation. This is the problem. How best I can solve it, or how best I can confront it. There are no easy answers. It has been tough time. And yes, you have to face it.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was actually good to get a point of like someone from the medical field. How often do we talk to doctors about what they are going through, how they feel, how are they handling what's happening at their end? And it was actually nice to get to know this, because honestly people have been circulating such messages which say that this is a scam, and just because the hospitals are getting money, they are like making someone like they are tested positive even if they are not. They are faking it, and all of these things are circulating around. And this actually helped us to understand that what a severe and intense situation is going actually in the hospitals, because we are in the comfort of our houses and commenting on them, but then it's really important to know about the people who are actually facing this, like the on ground. So thank you so much for telling us this through that angle as well. Now coming to the last question of this interview is that if someone who is visiting the hospital for a relative or anyone comes across a very unpleasant sight, which might involve a person who has passed away or anything, they can have this emotional trauma or something which is stuck up in their mind for a long time. So how do you deal with that visual?
It affects very badly.
Yes.
And at the moment, there are a lot of people going through all this trauma where the fatalities have occurred. It is no different. This death is no different. It's not that because of COVID something different happens to you. No, it's like any other person dying, you will also die. How you die of cancer, you will die of COVID. So the death, it's no, but because we are all under stress right now, the effect that it has on us is really very bad. But you have to think that yes, it is that the person, same philosophy, that the life of that person was destined to be this much, and COVID is just how it will happen. If you see somebody who has met with an accident,
True.
Yeah. It is abrupt, it is sudden, and it just happens. So it's the same. Death is the same. Death will not change. The fact that we are all not able to share these sorrows. And then when we hear about these things, that somebody has died and they were not, when we go to your funeral, when you see the body of the person, the remains, the mortal remains of the person,
yes,
there is a resolution. That's where you start resolving the issue and the sorrow, and slowly that acceptance comes. But when it happens without you seeing it or experiencing, all that sorrow, not sharing it with your family. Generally, whenever someone close in our family dies, you have your entire family sitting with you,
Yes.
sharing that sorrow. That sharing helps a lot of things to get resolved, or it gives you strength to face the fact. Here, because you are lonely, it doesn't happen. And as I said, to relieve stress, you do fun things on phone, on video call. So you do it even in these situations. No harm in that.
Yes. Thank you so much for that answer, because I mean for every answer in that for that matter. But then this is actually these are some things where we actually get to know that even when we are facing emotional turmoil, we have to be practical as well in this situation to deal with these emotions.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Can I add something?
Yes.
We discussed about the fake things
Yes.
that are
Yes.
coming up and all the. Yeah. We are a non-COVID hospital. So when the patient comes to us, we send the patient's COVID test to ascertain whether the patient is COVID or not COVID.
Okay.
Because that is only done at hospitals or a few medical. It is not freely available because they are so overworked. It takes a couple of days for them to come and collect the swab and you get the
Yeah.
result. So once the patient turn becomes negative, there is no problem. But if the person is positive, now whenever we send swabs, the nasal swabs that we take, we have to send it with the Aadhaar card.
Okay.
And this entire data, positive or negative, has to be uploaded onto a central system. There is a central server.
Okay.
So in the state government, it is in the BMC. So BMC is notified first before even the hospital comes to know.
Okay.
Or the patient. And then they put everything in place. They will give you a call. They will ask you how you are. And then a continuous check is made till the patient, after 14 days, also 15 days, even after a month, they will call and they will ask you how you are feeling and how is your family. I'm running a hospital. It is COVID or non-COVID. Even if we are non-COVID, we run it like a COVID hospital because we have to wear all the safety gear.
Yes.
So we have to be very careful when we are working in the hospital. So all the expenses are there.
Yeah.
And if they claim that for every patient they are getting 1.5 lakh rupees, believe me, the expense behind each patient is much more than that. How much we are spending the money, not on the medicine or the patient care, but the other things which are again new. The sanitization of the hospital, the fumigation of the homes, the cleanliness, the well-being of my staff, our staff, to see that they are taking enough protective measures, using the protective gear, they are in good health. I have to relieve them.
Yeah.
Because it's stressful working in the hospital. So I work on 50% capacity.
Yeah.
I work with 50% of the staff. I work with 50% of patients because we cannot take more patients. It is too tiring. It is full. And nobody understands that. Nobody even asks us, whether are you stressed? Nobody even thinks about it. Yeah. And then people just come up with all these funny things.
Yeah.
So much they are getting, so much this they are getting. Why would we? For money, I will put my life. Would you put your life on stake? So many hospitals, so many centers have just shut down because the doctors have tested positive. And for 14-15 days, if the center stops, there is no money to run it further. It's better that we stop it completely. So many centers have just shut down. They are not able to survive. You think they are making money? No, I don't think so. There are many people making money in many more ways than what we are. The last thing the doctors and the medical fraternity needs is all this. And I don't know, they are all really good souls, because despite all the criticism, they are still working hard to see that each and every patient is cured.
Truly why it's called a noble profession to be a doctor.
People should have more faith in their doctors.
True.
Actually, go back and think. If you really feel doctors were so bad, what is your personal experience about your doctor? Your own doctor who has treated you when you were ill and you felt better.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the doctor has cheated you? If no, please delete that message saying that no, this is not good. My doctor is good.
Yeah.
At least that much we can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely that we can do.
Proud to say that all these COVID warriors in the hospitals were kids of your age. They were all in their 20s.
Wow.
So you really have to be proud of your generation. That they have stood there, stood the ground,
Yeah.
fought it.
Honestly, the selflessness is like priceless, and that's why you can't blame someone in like terms of money when when they are being so selfless and actually putting their lives at risk for your betterment. So that this was really an eye opener, for all of us who are spreading these messages that this is a scam and doctors just want money and everything. So this was really eye opening for us.
Exactly. I think we all have been hearing some or other negative news about the entire situation. I think this interview, this entire session gave us a very clear idea about what exactly is happening and what doctors are going through. And that was the most important thing that everybody needs to realize right now. And they need to understand what you are also going through and be more empathetic towards the entire, the population or the people who are working for us. So I think thank you so much for giving us your valuable time and your input, and your
Yeah.
experience really opened our eyes. And I really don't have any more words to thank you because any words are less for this entire knowledge that you shared with us. Thank you, ma'am.
Because in the beginning of this video, even we didn't know how much knowledge were we going to get by the end of this interview, and we actually, our perspectives have changed by now, and I'm sure anyone who will watch this, they will have such a different and positive perspective towards this whole situation. And because of the way you answered the questions and the solutions that you gave for anyone dealing with any sort of emotional problem, as well as their approach towards the doctor.
Thank you. It was really, even I was wondering what kind of questions you would ask me. But these are exactly the questions that people ask me, that what should I do now?
Because we're anticipating so much and the thoughts of what will happen next, and because of the overthinking also, I feel so many of us are overthinking about the situation that we, even if it's not yet that worse, we already put ourselves in that worse situation, and then we don't know who to go to.
If it is there, it will happen, you deal with it, but don't anticipate it's going to happen, what will happen.
Exactly.
So what will happen? Otherwise, what happens that the energy to deal with it is lost in all that anxiety.
True. So thank you so much for being with us today. I think Gajesh got disconnected, so he left, but that's all right. But thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and being here with us and patiently giving satisfactory answers to all the questions, and actually even giving us more insights separately apart from the questions as well. So thank you so much once again for being here.
Yes. Thank you, Kana.
Bye.
Bye.
So I would like to thank Gajesh as well. Thank you so much for being here and collaborating and co-hosting this interview with me. I'm sure all of you have come across Gajesh's page or follow him. And if not, please check his page out. He has some really cool, conceptual and interesting artworks up on his Instagram page. The link to his Instagram page is in the description box below. So check it out without fail.
Yeah, thank you, Kanaka, for having me and trusting me with this interview. To be honest, I never did this before. And honestly, it has helped me to understand the situation in a much better and from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And one more point which I would like to say is basically, I never expected to hear such incidents or such insights from a personality like Sujala ma'am.
Yeah.
But this was totally overwhelming as well as informative for me personally. And I really thank you for having me. So yeah, guys, if you found the video to be informative and if you liked the content we shared with us in this video and from the previous video that Kanaka has been making, please like, share and subscribe to her channel. And also comment down what you think about the video. And
And what
please
more
let us
stuff you would like to watch in, like, in this
yes,
interview sort of format, if you want?
exactly. And please mention that you want us to collaborate more so that we come with
Yes, yes,
yes.
definitely do that. Okay, thank you, Gajesh. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
So that was it for today's video. Don't forget to hit the like button if you watch this video and if you like it. Please comment below how you found this video and if you would like any such sort of videos again. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Share this video with everyone, I feel, because I think we all need to be aware of these things, because we have these preconceived notions about this situation. I think this interview really gave us a lot of clarity regarding, and let's just all be a little more empathetic, in fact a lot more empathetic and compassionate towards our doctors, rather than blaming them for things which they don't even do. Don't make them sound like they're just shelling out money. They are really risking their lives out there because we should be healthy. So let's just give them that appreciation and let's just acknowledge their efforts. That's what I feel, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.